Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of Boys from the Baltic Star. We are a traveller adventure on Twitch. If you've never heard of us before and you've totally fluked it here, please look at joining us on Twitter at Boys Baltic. I'd like to say I put out quality content, but we didn't. We did find out that everyone's favourite planet was Saturn. That is a very important thing we found out today. So, it's well worth following us for that.
I call BS.
That's just because you like Uranus, just because it made you... Are you the one Uranus voter?
No. I was all for Pluto, I think.
It's not even a planet.
Just to rebel. Just for the sake of rebelling.
And I mean, Pluto has the nightlife, but Saturn has the scenery and the lovely spas. So what are you going to go for?
What are you going to do? The rebel is Ewan in the blue, and he's in the middle today. He's his customary blue. I've gone for Ben, who's in black today. I've gone for his white. So it's all a bit confused. People that only see us in small images that can only pick us by colour might be quite confused. But Ben is, as always, in the middle of Twin Peaks. He is the referee. I'm Luke in my Oik outfit today. Mm-hmm. Anyone that watched yesterday would remember that in solidarity, I did not drink with Ben because he's been half eaten by a dog, and so he's on painkillers and drugs and all sorts of things. But that fell apart today, and me and Ewan will indeed be drinking and enjoying the evening and annoying Ben very much.
I imagine we're a lot harder to put up with when you haven't been drinking.
Exactly.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, it is fair to say I drink to make other people more interesting, so we'll see.
So on that note, over to Ben to set the scene for the evening.
Thank you. So getting down to business on Geeka in the last episode, the travellers checked into the Earth Park Hotel to recover from their recent boating excursion. A meeting with Lan Patero, senior executive for Earth Park, led to some potentially useful information and a scheduled meeting with the CEO of Black Sun Corporation on Rena. They even arranged for the opportunity to purchase a book, for some reason. A visit to Homer Dawes, a broker, led them to learn of a corporation on Venti that might be interested in a direct sale of their cargo, and a company who might be able to sell them some fish, as well as a general trader on Elia. On leaving the broker, their attention was directed into a narrow alley, and there they saw the familiar figure of Seva, lurking in his familiar way in the shadows, who asked for their help. And that is where we resume the story, with a brief moment of housekeeping as well, because remember, there is a boon available to the party just for this episode.
Yeah, the boon
because of my truly lousy joke on Wednesday.
For putting up with his bad joking on Wednesday. Just because we had guests, he thought he could be funny.
I liked it.
It was good, to be fair.
So for putting up with my jokes, there's a boon available.
Is that a communal boon?
Yes. So someone will just grab it whenever, and hopefully at a moment that is amusing or interesting or weird.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we live for. Cool.
Okay. So you find yourself literally standing in a narrow, slightly shadowy alley on this sort of minor industrial estate. It's not what you'd call a particularly thrilling place. It's not a touristy part of the environment. Standing in front of Seva. And he's looking a bit furtive, actually. He's checking around to see if anyone else is watching. He's a bit nervous.
Stefan will, I assume if we all see this, Stefan will clock onto that. And is anyone watching?
Make a survival check for me.
Is it survival or streetwise?
Oh, you know what? Streetwise probably here. Yes, of course.
You're a good man.
Yep.
Then.
And you can have intellect as a bonus to that.
That's a +0 from intellect.
He's not that smart.
My favourite. That is a 7 plus 2 is 9.
Okay. As far as you can spot, no, you can't see any reason for his immediate nervousness.
Okay, wonderful. Have you got anything, Luke?
Only that I was going to go, hey! Oh!
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Hey! At sort of half point, and then and then sort of like wander over. Kara will sort of wander over to where he's furtively beckoning or something, some back alley somewhere.
I'm glad I saved my role for before. Yeah.
Hey!
Is anyone watching us now?
Hey, it's that guy. Soraya, I thought you killed him.
Okay. He sort of, no, quiet.
Cool. I guess we'll wander over to him in his shadows. Find out what's up. Hey, Sever, how's it going? It's been a long time. You keeping okay? You look hungry.
I'm doing okay, thank you. But I've got a bit of a problem. I need to get into Earth Park without using the dirigibles. Sounds like something you could help me with.
There are some beautiful animals there, if that's what you're going for.
Agnar will show him. He'll scroll through his
The
list of tipped off, colourful animals that he's collected on his way around Earth Park, and point out the fact that there is also a giant shark which isn't on the list, but we did see. There might be footage on social media if.
I feel like he's doing it with some pride. His chest's pumped out
Of course
a little
he is.
bit.
He loves Earth Park. This is his life now.
This is annual passes.
Yeah.
He's like
Here's a picture of all of the animals we were nearly eaten by.
He's like Lilu in Fifth Element. He's like annual pass.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm very much sure that's true. Yes. So,
can I can I just jump in and say that Stefan wouldn't wander over with the rest of the party? He'd sort of hang back and just keep an eye, keep his head on the swivel, see if anybody is actually watching them.
Okay, sort of lurking by the corner of the alley rather than going into it.
Yeah, just getting a wider view of the situation.
Okay. Right. Yes. When you say there are lots of lovely animals to see, Sever sort of goes, yeah, I'm sure. One animal in particular. I want that animal. It's not on your list.
So Raya will say, you see, we took the dirigible over and we took the cable cars round, and I don't think it's necessarily that easy to get over otherwise. I'm sure it could be, but it all seems very set up for a very specific way in or out. Is there a specific part of Earth Park you want to get to?
Just somewhere I can sneak in without being too obvious about it.
Can Agnar say to him, I think we know the animal that you're on about. And I think if you check the social media videos, we would have been in this situation to have helped you out here, by means of giant shark. Perhaps full disclosure would have been preferable at the start. Is there any history you'd like to tell us now?
Make a persuade with intellect or social. Your choice.
Agnar's got the social.
He hasn't got the persuade though.
No.
So that's just a -1. That's an 8 -1 is 7. I wasn't warning him.
He sort of shrugs and says, I can't find what I thought I'd be able to find here. I thought if I went to Black Sun, I'd find him, but the people I've spoken to, he's kind of hiding out at Earth Park now. And he's not coming up for air. So I was thinking about maybe getting you guys to drop me into the middle of that lake with a wetsuit on, and I could just quietly swim to the shore. But I'm beginning to be less enthusiastic about that idea.
You could quietly be bait. We could dangle you on a very long string and see how long you last for. I definitely wouldn't want to be jumping back in.
I mean, the shark is intermittent. It's a big lake.
There's 2 of them, though.
There's 2 sharks. I was going to go with 1, but there's 2 sharks now. As far as he knows. I mean, it's a possibility. I don't know. Would we know then? Is it sort of free reign? Can you just fly wherever you want on this planet? There's no restricted airspace over.
There's no inherent restriction, but Earth Park might raise an eyebrow if you tried to, like, fly in and not go through their ticketing process, for example.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. But it would be like jumping the fence at a theme park. It's not something that you get thrown in prison for.
Yes. And I assume there's a certain height at which they don't worry about those sorts of things because people would be hitting water at a reasonably high velocity.
No doubt, yes.
Is Kara will say, is your face known? I know you want to get in directly. Is that because if you went in through dirigible, you would feel your face was known, that someone would make you?
Yeah. That's it exactly. If I go in on the dirigible, I mean, I don't imagine they'll necessarily stop me, but I'll be followed around like I'm stealing stuff. And I'm not there to steal anything.
Well, we were followed around like we were stealing stuff, and all we did was be lovely.
What if we could either cause a distraction for you or disguise you to some extent?
That could work if you'd be up for that. Yeah, sure. If you can come up with a plan, that's great.
We've got t-shirts, we've got caps, we've got merch, we've got fun time party time.
We've got yearly passes.
We've got some characters that can be quite loud and sort of turn people's heads if need be. Whether we followed him in or not, we could definitely get him to the place.
How time urgent is this? I feel as though we might need to have some form of planning situation, Agnar will say. Possibly.
Truthfully, I don't think he's coming off Earth Park anytime soon. He's hiding there. He's scared of
him. Then we've got, because in the coming days we're going around all the interesting and weird parts of town where we could come across all kinds of bits and pieces that we could put together to really hide who you are, your appearance, come up with some clever bits and pieces. We might be seeing some merchants to get some interesting drugs and things. I reckon. Whoa! I said interesting, not illegal.
Agnar calms down.
Yeah. Whoa! Yeah. Not those sort of merchants. Like legitimate businesses. Not just some skinny guy off the street who happens to be related to one of our crew members. Actual places. Selling us a watch. I think, given if you're not in a massive rush, Sever, and you're happy for us to have a few days to put things together, I think we could get you into Earth Park. I'm sure. Kara looks at Agnar. That I'm sure he'd love any excuse to get back on there again.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, the more rapport we can build up with, Earth Park employees and security, the easier it'll be to conceal your entry. I imagine we should probably return every day, at least for a week.
Carl will say, I was thinking actually along that line, if we could get a couple of people going back every day, whether it's like Rose and different people from the ship, but maybe like a different face every day with known faces. There would be that, I'm sure Rick would love to go back again and Rose would love to go back. And so maybe we could do Rick, Rose and one of the other guys from the crew, and then maybe two of them and someone else, and then two of them and someone else, and then finally two of them with Sever in the full, in the bright red t-shirt and the cap and sort of, some bits and pieces. We might be able to, we could go as a full party for that day. If we want, we could they'd be used to the face by then. The cameras would be used to seeing the same old faces.
And I'm saying, let me tell you, my friend, they don't blink an eyelid if you've got a Earth Park t-shirt over your full combat armor.
That's true. So
having just swum in the lake.
Yeah. Well, it is the happiest place on Geeka.
So they say.
So, okay. Well, if that's what you think will work, I'll trust your judgment. You've actually been there, and I haven't.
We did get followed, but it seemed like we got followed most after we left the beach. So I think as a group, we could definitely get to the forest or to the beach. I think so. And then I guess we'll play it from there. If you're on your own, you're on your own. If you need some support, I'm sure, someone can spot for you or whatever.
We were only followed by one person, I feel, at the time, from what I could tell, Agnar says, or from what our party could tell. So if we were to split up at the beach, there are only a limited number, I would imagine, of people that could contain us all.
Okay. That actually sounds okay then. Yeah.
How can we contact you? Is it likely that communications will be monitored on Geeka?
No, it's not. It's not a problem. I've got communications set up here, and I've got a place I've got to crash on later. So just let me know when you're good to go, and I will be there. Well, double quick.
Whereabouts on Latter? We're on our way there eventually. I'm not sure of the time frame.
It's
just
sort of
making casual conversation.
The eastern side of the peak.
Oh. Oh, interesting.
That's good to know. Well, we might pop in and say hello when we're over there. Have a nice visit a Geeka tea house or something like that together.
Agnar says, "I believe you owe me a cask of my favourite tipple, which happens to be whiskey."
A cask of whiskey,
and sort of just winks at him in a joking way.
Yes, excellent. Yeah. Well, we'll get right on that, okay?
Yes. That's a man that doesn't buy around. He's bought us around before. To be fair, I shouldn't badmouth him.
In a bar that he got drinks for free.
For free, exactly. Easy to buy rounds when they're scared of you.
Well, good luck, I suppose, if you need it. I'm
Okay.
not sure how dangerous things are for you here.
He skulks off down the alley, walking past Stefan on the way out, and sort of glancing across and giving him a quick nod before hurrying off in the other direction, sort of looking down at the ground a bit as if he doesn't want to get accidentally spotted at a distance or picked up on a high level camera. He's obviously being a bit furtive.
Yes. Can Stefan give it, I don't know, like 30 foot or so, and then start following him?
Absolutely. Yeah. He's loosely walking back towards the transit point, but not by the most direct route, not the way that you actually came down from the transit point to get here. He's zigzagging back and forth across the route, stopping at every corner and checking around where he's going, and then pressing on quickly, and then doing a couple of quick turns before he stops again. He's obviously trying to avoid being followed. So if you want to follow him, you're going to need to make a stealth check with Dex.
Okay. Let's warm these up and get the right sheet. Oh, not bad. That's 10 plus stealth and dex is 13 total.
Oh, hello.
Okay. Yeah, very impressive. Yes, and I mean that he actually didn't roll that badly. No, you're pretty confident you are able to follow him all the way. Only takes a few minutes to go all the way to the sort of transport station, and then he disappears into it.
Okay, Stefan would like to follow.
Okay.
Assuming, can I just get a quick rundown of the transports? Are they large? How big are they? Is it likely that if you were in the transport with somebody that you knew very well, that you wouldn't spot them, or are they sort of like a
subway
they're sort
train
of
or
like
something?
tube
6
trains.
foot by 10 foot?
They're sort of like tube trains, but they're not as long, both in the complete length of the train and the individual cars.
Sure.
So there's essentially about a dozen cars strung together, but they're maybe half the length of a London Underground tube car.
Yeah.
And they are therefore quite flexible in terms of their movement around curves and things of that nature.
Okay.
The whole system does indeed work just like a tube network, and as you get down, he jumps on the route to head north up towards Lata, if that's where he's going. You don't know where he's going to get off yet.
Sure. Do the doors open on one side or on both sides?
The way it works, there are effectively 3 platforms split by 2 lines, one going in each direction. So there is a middle platform and 2 flanking platforms, so people can get on and off on both sides. Technically, if you follow the signs, so to speak, you are supposed to get on from the middle and off from the edges.
Okay.
So the idea is everybody always is directed down to the central platform in order to get onto a train going in either direction. And then when they get off on the flanking platforms to essentially ease the rush of people across multiple routes. But you've noticed already that complete obedience to that tends to be a bit random. Not everybody does as the signs would suggest, and nobody seems to greatly care most of the time. But during really peak busy times, it can be helpful if, when the doors open, people are leaving through one set of doors and entering through the ones opposite, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Could Assuming he gets on a transit, could Stefan get on a couple of carriages down?
Yes, absolutely.
On the same train.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm happy to dip in and out of this however you wish.
Okay.
To not monopolise.
As the train sets off, perhaps that's a good time to have a break while we go back to the others, because the train journey it's not going to be very long. You know, no matter where he goes, the entire route only takes half an hour to run around. So he's not going to be a massively long time before he gets to wherever he's going.
Mm-hmm.
But now might be a good time, since you're basically just standing there waiting for the train to go somewhere.
He will. Sorry, I'll just say he will message the group non-vocally. He'll just send a written message just saying I'm in pursuit of Seva.
Okay. The thing you're going to have to do when we come back is check as to whether or not you successfully work out where he's going off without being spotted again.
Sure.
Because it'll be a different bit of stealth to work out if you can watch him leave without him catching you, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's why I was curious about whether it was two-sided or one-sided, or how that in theory he can leave his carriage in a variety of ways. So I would imagine there's a lot of opportunity there to give someone the slip.
Yes, and just for everybody's sort of memory at the moment, you've just got onto the transit station at Kuala, and it's heading north, so towards Pito and Lata.
Yes, wonderful. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, perfect.
Cool.
All right. So the less sneaky and thoroughly disreputable members of the party.
Oh, you mean the fine and upstanding group?
Everyone else.
Yeah. Yes, I mean the fine and upstanding Agnar and his slightly disreputable companion.
Oh, how dare you!
Well, that's very kind of you, Ben.
While Kara
I like a bit of juxtaposition.
as Kara looks to spray graffiti on an empty wall somewhere, Kara's going to look at Sarai's going to look at the annual pass tickets. Do they seem linked to people, or like with a photo and everything, or is it pretty much if you've got the ticket you're getting in kind of thing, from what she can tell?
They are essentially an electronic token that's been added to your personal communicator. Though they did hand you a physical chit, it's more of a souvenir thing than an actual token. The way you get your access to the park is because your communicator has already been cleared, so to speak.
Okay, so Sarai's going to send the message first to the guys on the planet, who I guess we told them they've gone off to the Earth Park anyway, haven't they? The two of them.
They are at Earth Park now, yeah.
She's going to ping one up to the ship and say, hey, we got a little bit extra money. The two of those have gone on anyway. Does anyone want to go onto Earth Park? It's for the day. It's my shout.
Oh, yes. Anyone in particular you're asking for?
Anyone that fancies the trip. I know there's a few guys that barely get off that ship, so it's up to you, Ben. If any of them, like if 1, 2, or 3 want to go, let's get, because the point is trying to get some some faces cycling through there, get them the day, get some repeat trips, get the crowds going, So,
well, I mean, obviously you have Reggie on the ship, but I assume you're not going to include him in there.
Let's not include. We need Reggie, and the idea will be if anyone that doesn't go kind of needs to keep half an eye on Reggie, if that makes sense.
Yep, I'm with you. Okay. Then in that case, your basic options, because you've got a number of people you picked up from the camp, if you remember.
Yeah.
Who are traveling with you.
Yes, I do remember.
So you actually have Eric and Tass and Amelia and David and Simnon, all of those.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So you can
Says yes.
you can have any of those, but bear in mind they may not be with you for very much longer. So I don't know if you want to sort of invest time in them as much. You naturally have Zoe.
Yep.
You've got a group of your own sort of crew, people like Rachel.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, she was grumpy though. I thought I'd like Rachel, but she's very serious character. I don't know if she'd like the. We'll start with Zoe.
Okay.
Zoe, I've got some extra funding here. We've got some happy times. I've got a nice bright T-shirt and a cap. Would you like to come to Earth Park? We got a few guys going in anyway. Would you like to head over, Michael?
Yeah, love to. Sounds brilliant.
Cool. Anyone you want to drag with you? Because she was included with the drinks with Rachel the other night, and Rachel wasn't miserable. She was just quite forthright, isn't she? She's sort of quite.
She's very firm in her opinions. Yes.
Yes. Says. So she'll say to Zoe at least give Zoe the choice. Do you want to see if Rachel wants to come with you, or maybe someone else?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Rachel would love to come, and maybe Gerg Sutter. He'd love it. I mean, he's relatively young medic.
Of course he would. Well, that'd be lovely. We will get. I'm not going to buy you annual pass. Was it 1,000 for? What was the one-time trip? Was it how much was the one-time trip?
If I remember, it was something like 25, wasn't it?
It was like 300.
Yeah, because it was 1,000 for the year. It was 1,000 for the year.
That's right, 1,000 for the year, and 300. Yes, that's right.
Sarah will say what I'll do. She'll send Zoe 1,500 credits.
Okay.
And say, look, we've come into a bit of money here. We're sort of heading down the trading route. So this is kind of like a bit of share. You know, this is for tickets, bit of food, any merch or whatever you want. Just have a really lovely day. Just really be visible, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be visible. Be visibly happy. Be visibly having a good time. If anyone asks, you know, you're on the ship in orbit and so on. And, you know, have a fantastic day on us.
Okay. For that, she can actually bring 5 people effectively.
Yeah.
And, you know, if they're willing to supplement their own, you know, if they want to buy a T-shirt, they can probably buy it themselves. So, yeah, she will bring a gang of 5 down for the day.
Cool. So she can bring 2 others of her choice then. So her, Rachel, Gerg, and 2 others. Brilliant.
Yeah, well, she'll tell you happily she's going to bring the brother and sister, Sammy and Johnny.
Ah, Sammy and Johnny. We can't keep Sammy out of it. We try, but he drags them in.
Yeah, well, you know, Johnny hasn't really been anywhere in his life.
Yeah, he's been stuck on Austin for a long time, bless him, on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sammy's a planetologist. She might actually like to visit another planet. You never know.
That's true. She can stroke some rocks.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, there we go.
Check out which animals like which rocks.
What rocks the sands are made out of.
Yeah.
Yeah. How the rocks have been carved for those sunbathing spots. She'll love it. She'll love it. What a day.
Best rocks for building a barbecue pit.
Exactly. Bit of brother and sister bonding time.
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, I joke, but it sounds perfectly reasonable that she would thoroughly enjoy the planet. A new planet.
Yes, I mean, you've got a group of people who are, for the most part, quite interested in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
There we go.
So So yes, okay. They say thank you very much. This is brilliant. We'll head straight to Earth Park then.
Go. They think they're having a lovely time, but it's day one of our dastardly murder plan.
I mean, isn't it always day one of a dastardly murder plan with you guys?
Sometimes it's day two of the dastardly murder plan.
Eventually, it's the final day of the
That's the dream.
Murder plan.
And then it's just a loop, really. It's the circle of death,
Yeah,
I guess.
circle of
death.
Yeah. It's not as catchy when you think about it in song form, is it?
It probably has fewer cute lions in it as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yes. So as they're not actually planning to stay on Selville or on Geeka itself, they'll effectively be coming down in a shuttle to Elia and then straight to Earth Park by the terminal.
Absolutely. You're not even having any interaction with us really for the day because we're in Koala, aren't we? So we're not even going to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not unless you go there and meet them.
No. I've got no need for that. We've got business to be doing. Business.
Quite right.
We've got gardeners to kill. No, Stefan's left us.
Oh, he's on his way though.
Is that why he's not following Sever? He just knows that he's heading into gardener territory.
He's just gonna get off in the Posh district and kill all their gardeners.
Getting a head start on us.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
The team or feud has been drawn.
The team that are there have no reason to be in Koala anymore. There's literally
no. You've done everything you were planning to do on Koala.
We were always going to do a lap. So I would imagine the rest of the team will get on a transport system. No doubt, a few behind the one that's gone with Stefan.
Okay.
The only thing Kara would like to do is to, on the computer, get it set to make contacts with Auric de Salve.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do a side trip to the downport because that feels like faffy. Do you know what I mean? But make some contact on the computer as we start.
Yes. Okay.
As we start our journey to the green and pleasant lands.
Yes. Now, just for your reminder, Auric de Salve is a general trader.
Yes.
So he has an office actually in the building structures on Elia, and most of Elia is just open and flat as a landing pad.
Yeah.
But he does have a small office there. So yes, you can easily contact him electronically, and it's entirely possible you'll never need to contact him any other way. Fantastic. He does most of his business electronically.
Because if I remember correctly, the fish exporter is the Waterfall Group, which is in Venti. Yes. There's a big company, the Pathway Corporation, who are probably good for the big ore metals that we've got. But Auric is worth poking to see what he's got either way, really. He might have a little bit of something.
Yes, he would be able to offer you potentially other things to take off world, and you never know, he might know somebody who wants some more. So always worth asking. So
that's what she's going to start doing. She'll sort of, I don't want to spend too much time on it now, but I wanted to send that sort of message saying hi, trader on planet, just interested in making contact and sort of doing some deals.
Sure. Can you do an electronics computers check with +2, please? And whatever your own bonuses are.
Oh, you hear it. Oh, and they're warm enough. 7 plus 1 on computers plus 2 makes a 10.
Plus your intellect as well, sorry.
12 then. She's a smart girl.
Right, can you roll 1d6 for me, please?
Oh, no. It's a 6. I can never remember if that's bad or good. It's a 6. I always forget which way's good on this. I think it's back to front. It's a 6.
Okay, the computer starts chuntering away and a progress bar appears, but it seems to be taking a while.
Okay. Well, we've got plenty of things to do at least. I'm not in a rush, so that's all right.
Okay.
Cool. And then we'll jump on the transport, I guess. I'm happy to ping back over to Stefan at that point, unless Agnar has anything he wants to do.
You make your way happily to the Koala transit point, and as you're now jumping on a train, let's head back to the other train. A few minutes later. Yes, we go back to Stefan. Stefan, I need you to make a stealth check, please, with Dex.
Cool. I've been warming them. Oh, it's 6 plus 3. No, sorry. Yes, plus 3 is 9.
6 plus 3 is 9.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Under that circumstance, can you do a streetwise check for me, please, with intellect?
Yes. That's 6 plus 2. Is it?
6 plus 2.
Yes.
Okay. All right. As you sort of check through the windows to see when he's going to be getting off, he actually doesn't get off at the first stop, and instead of getting off where you might expect, perhaps, if he was heading back to Larta at the actual main terminal at Larta, or at the because I'm not entirely sure this is completely clear from the map. So this is one of these things where we're just going to have to sort of accept that it may not have been as obvious as it should have been. Larta has a transit terminal in the middle, but there's also one at the end of the dam on the very southern tip.
Yeah, the 2 points.
Yeah, and the same is true on Pito.
Yeah.
So in essence, after going from Kuala, the train goes through Mina, through to the main terminal in the middle of Pito.
Yeah.
Then the one at the dam, and then it enters the dam itself. The dam is actually wide enough to accommodate the tube tunnel, and it goes through the dam, which on the south side is open to the air. It has pillars, vertical columns holding it up. The inside is obviously solid because otherwise the water would leave. But the outside of the tube tunnel that goes through the dam is open, so you can see the valley that forms the heart of the area that Selville is wrapped around. And he actually gets off at the first stop in Larta, not the main one where the dam is. And as he gets off, you want to get off at the same stop?
Yeah, he'll leave it till the very last minute, I suppose, when the doors are closing, just to make sure that, if he's looking over his shoulder or
there's
paying
this moment
attention.
where your sort of heart's in your mouth because you think, oh crap, he's seen me. He just glances towards you at exactly the wrong moment, and you think he's got to have spotted me, but he doesn't seem to pick you out immediately. He looks away, sort of. It's almost as if he's had a glimpse of something he recognizes, but it hasn't really registered instantly, and he looks back, and by the time he looks back, you've managed to sort of duck behind a couple of other passengers who are there and made yourself scarce with a bit of your streetwise skills, because you were absolutely the same score as him on the first check.
Bit behind the curtain work there.
So I decided you would then use your relative streetwise skills to determine whether or not you would really nail it, because he didn't actually beat you and you didn't beat him on the first check. So he looks around, he looks sort of puzzled for a second and then doesn't seem to worry about it and move off out of the station.
Okay. Stefan will hang back a little bit more than perhaps he was when he was following him on Kuala, just in light of that situation. But continue with following.
Okay. You come up to the surface, and as you get to the surface, can I have a streetwise check with intellect, please.
I was debating whether to roll the same warm dice or to go for a cold pair.
Oh, don't go for the cold pair. That's
I've gone for
risky.
the cold pair. Let's see
Oh
what happens.
no, it was going so well.
Oh, that's a lovely 3 plus 2. It's
You
fine.
fool.
As if to prove a point about the warm dice.
I told you, it's all about the warm dice.
Keep proving this.
I've been doing well up until that moment.
Fool.
Okay, you emerge from the station to have your first proper look up close at the peak of Lata. To your sort of left, as you come out, heading up the western side, you can see a long sort of coast promenade that runs the entire length of the lake, which is visible from where you are almost all the way to the dam at the far side, or the peak at the far side. And it's littered with expensive looking hotels, cafes, restaurants. Think sort of a smart town on the Côte d'Azur, that kind of layout. There are restaurants set in gardens and hotels with gardens and little bits of private beach, almost, little private spa areas and table areas down right on the water. It's full of restaurants. It looks very, very smart indeed. And heading sort of in the other direction along the south side of Lata is quite a busy commercial looking town. As soon as you step just 1 or 2 roads back from the lakefront, you're very much into shopping and accommodation kind of places. And as you glance around, there is no sign of Seva.
Okay. I guess Stefan will start walking sort of up and down. He'll play it cool, like, oh yeah, I meant to come here. He'll walk up and down and he'll peruse a couple of like little stands and look at some menus of little coffee shops or whatever, and act as though nothing is wrong.
He's trying to look like a cat that's just fallen off the sofa and springs back to its feet like, I meant to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But in the same time, he's not bothered really what people are thinking. He's just it's more worried that Seva might be watching him now, I suppose. And at the same time, he'll send a message to everyone and say, well, he got off at Lata, but I've lost him.
Okay. So you send that message and you start to wander around.
Yeah.
And that feels like a good time to cut back to our other group who are on a train heading up from Kuala. And so they obviously are on the same loop, just a little further back. Are you going to get off at Mina, for example?
You see, I think there's no particular... With Stefan not around, I can't see anyone that would have a particular reason. So we're going through Mina, which is some nice big houses, some big gardens, some parks, no doubt. The odd pond. So that's what we're looking at, right? It's a bit Bel Air. Is that what we're talking about?
Prime graffiti.
Yeah, to be fair, that is that would be nagging at Kara, the need for some. Nag.
It's your choice.
You've made it nag even more at me now.
Sorry.
Right, she's off the train. She's going rogue. She's off the train.
All right. Is anyone else getting off the train?
No, they're not. Well, Soraya's not.
No, I don't suppose Agno is. I'm trying to think of what his goal is at this point.
You're looking at basically Kara.
I suppose to check into the next hotel.
Yeah, that's true.
As much as he's got planned.
That's at Lata, isn't it? Yeah. Basically, Kara's doing. She's sort of looking into a bag at one of her classic old graffiti paints, a bit of that, which the other two are no doubt getting note of. Pulling on the gloves, bit of that, bit of the old backpack on. As soon as it opens, she's whoosh out after looking at all these massive gardens, off without saying a thing. Gone a bit rogue, if that makes sense. Much to everyone's frustration, no doubt.
As she jumps out, Agnar probably just says, "Oh, we're not laughing that
way." Yes, it's very important in all these kind of situations to split your party as much as physically possible. Exactly. So yes,
just see them as side quests, little very short side quests.
Yeah. So so yes, as she emerges from the transit station and the train continues, she finds herself sort of at the northeastern edge of Mina. Mina is a relatively small peak, and she comes out into what is effectively a long central park that runs most of the length of the peak, but is narrow, and it loosely curves to roughly follow the slight curve of the peak. It's a big open space for people who live there or visit there to walk up and down and have some free time. Noticeably, as you sort of get your bearings, what you seem to find is that facing onto that central park area are cafes and restaurants and places to divert you as you travel, places where you can get a scoop of ice cream or a beer or whatever you fancy. But once you get behind those, there's a sort of ring road around Mina, and the rest of it seems to be almost entirely accommodation on the outside of the ring road, most of it quite plush. There don't appear to be many hotels or rental type accommodation. It all seems to be largish, detached family homes in their own little grounds, which seem all to run out to gardens which extend right to the edge of the peak, and most of them seem to have their own little air raft or shuttlecraft or thing of that nature parked in the garden for the executive transport role.
As she's the first thing she's doing as she's sort of jumped off is getting onto the Geeker net, I guess, and looking up information about Mina and the general population on Mina and what I guess the socio-political vibe, if that makes sense, the makeup of Mina. Yes. That's what she wants to know mostly.
Okay, Mina was originally intended to be a sort of ambassadorial district. A lot of these properties were supposed to be embassies and business operations and homes for the wealthy, for people who are off-world.
Yeah.
In reality, the way that the city has developed, a lot of the wealthy have actually taken up more urban places. Still nice, but urban on Pito or Lata.
Mm.
But there is a group of people who prefer having a standalone house with its own garden and its own landing pad and that sort of thing. And they seem to have slowly colonized. As the world has become increasingly profitable, as a tourist destination in particular, there is a fairly wealthy class of individuals, and those people, many of them have their homes on Mina.
Are there any from her searching? Are there any notable names of people that run, like the Amazons or the Elon Musks of this world? Do you know that sort of character?
Right. There may well be, but if so, they don't put their home addresses anywhere that you would be able to easily find.
Which is very understandable. Yeah.
It's like Ben knew exactly where you were going with
Exactly.
that.
Right. He's going straight for the planetary Elon Musk to do a poo in their grass.
Yes, it's essentially. I think most of those people would expect that they would have offices elsewhere on the planet or on other planets, and they would expect people to find them there first rather than just knock on their door. You know, maybe I'm wrong, but I get that feeling.
I think that's fair. For her first little semi-move that we're going to do before we cut to someone else, she's going to start a video blog type thing. Hi, I'm Kara Laska. I'm here on Geeker at Sellville. I'm here in the very salubrious district of Mina. Just chilling out, hanging around. I'm just going to chat to some locals here and see what their views are on different things. And then the idea is she's going to do a few vox pops. You know, of people going around. I don't want to dwell too much on it because I don't want to take too much time on my thing. But the idea is that she's just going to be setting up a little video of, hi, do you live here? What's it like here? What do you think of people coming off world? What do you think of people coming to the planet? What do you think of, different areas? Does that make sense? Like that sort of...
Yes.
That's what
she's going to be a Twitch streamer, is what
she's basically Twitch streaming for an hour is what I'd love her to do around the areas. But what I want her to do is try and get a vibe while being very arty and trying to be that kind of doe-eyed, open-eyed. Hey, I'm just here to do a nice, piece. I'm a little bit political, but I'm just trying to be a bit, just trying to get some content. She wants to get any kind of vibe from people about the people that live there, I guess, if that makes sense. If there's anyone of note on the lap while she's doing a bit of lo-fi spy work from a doe-eyed art student kind of approach, if that makes sense.
Okay, can you roll a streetwise check with intellect?
I can. Should be okay, I think, because that was a 8, a 5 plus 3, 5 plus 3 plus 2, which is 10.
Okay. She sort of briefly chats to a few people, but they're not really interested until she sort of gets a bit more lucky, I suppose, and finds a young woman who is meandering through the park, having just got up from a cafe table, and who she doesn't even have to approach. She comes over to actually find out what Kara's doing. And wanders up and says, hi, you making a movie or something?
So, hi, yeah, you could say that. I'm an artist. I've come some way. This is not my local, this is not the planet that I'm from or that I grew up on, but it's a fascinating place. And I guess I was looking at the differences in Geeker. From what I can tell, there's a real range in the society. And to me, Mina's a fascinating place because it's very different to the others. And I guess I just wanted to know what drives people, like the sort of people that are here. Like, you're here right now. I saw you at the cafe. Are you, like, whether people that actually eat and drink here are from here or they come over just for the greenery? Like, what's the vibe of this place?
I think we have a fair few people who visit from time to time, but most of the businesses here, they serve the local needs of the people who live here most of the time.
Do you live in Mina, or do you come here just to sort of enjoy the space?
I do live in Mina, yes.
Do you mind being on camera?
Not at all.
How long have you lived on Mina?
All my life.
And what's your name?
Kat Aralesti.
How are we spelling that, Cat? There's many ways to spell cat, and
K-A-T.
after a few drinks, there's even more ways to spell Aralesti.
K-A-T.
Yeah.
A-R-A-L-E-S-T-I.
Aralesti. Cat Aralesti.
Yes.
And what do you do, Cat Aralesti?
As little as possible.
Oh, it sounds like the dream. Are you from money?
I date money.
That's almost even easier than being from money.
Can be.
Do you ever venture into the other parts of town, the sort of the more eclectic areas?
Absolutely.
But you like being able to come back to Mina at the end of the day, or do you moonlight?
I think of Mina as my home, but it's not the only place I lay my head.
Are there any? Is Kat of a similar? I'm guessing Kara's 34 now, so she is knocking on, as we all are. Is Kat, from what she can tell, is Kat like a easy? Except you, of course, you.
It's a bit close to my age.
It's a bit close, yeah, to be the word
Too
knocking
close,
on.
I like it.
Is Kat? Are we talking from what we can tell, from what we can look at, from what we can tell without asking questions?
Mm-hmm.
Does she look like late teens, early mid, late 20s, 30s? What we
If you were guessing, you'd probably suggest she's somewhere between 19 and 21.
Okay. Let me just write that down. Cara will say, I know you can't tell it from the fantastic way I wear my vac suit around my waist and the height of trends on me, but I still love to sort of go and see interesting places and hang out, artistic, interesting, eclectic places. Is there anywhere that you would recommend that I could go and see interesting people or places worthy of note?
Yes, very definitely.
If you were listing like a few top places for someone like me or someone like you, of course, to hang out in, what would you suggest?
Well, the first thing I would say quite obviously is I wouldn't spend too much time on Mina. The locals here tend to be a bit routine.
Yeah.
If it were me, I would basically spend as much time as possible on Lata.
Okay. Is there anyone, if we were looking for a good time or an interesting time, would there be anyone or any place that you would recommend visiting or talking to?
Yes. I think if you wanted to have a genuinely good time and you were interested in a slightly more diverse population, I would strongly recommend the Cascade.
Okay, sounds good to me.
That sounds good.
That does sound good. Hang on a sec. Let me just flick back. Pause. Everyone, put your fingers in your ears. Everyone that's on stream.
Can I, while we're on pause, can I quickly flash back? I like to have this image of Agnar on the dirigible getting a notification that Kara Laska has just gone live and clicking on the video and getting this, "Hi, I'm Kara Laska, I'm here on Mina," and then just audibly saying out loud, "Oh shit." knowing from the background, the history of Kara and Agnar is very down, fight the power.
Yes.
There's strong vibes there of her overthrowing the patriarchy.
Last time,
and I feel that would be his first reaction.
Not only that, I feel that is the mic drop moment on which we should have our halftime break.
That sounds good. Oh, good. I've got many questions to come back with.
Yeah. Apologies.
No, fantastic.
No apologies at all. I think that's perfect. With Agnar saying, "Oh shit."
With her like waving, "Hello, I'm Kara Laska." Oh no.
Yeah. Which,
Cool.
I mean, to be fair, is very out of character for him. I feel as though he's not a very swearing person. He's quite prim and proper.
On that.
Turns out hanging out with Kara has given him more reasons to learn.
Well, certainly watching her streams is...
on that sheer Agnar filth, we're going to take a 5-minute loo break. When we get back, we are going to do our toast, which is no longer me. I'm pleased to see. We got a new Toastmaster. So if you are watching, grab a glass full of something, have a rest, and we will be back in 5 minutes. Thank you.
From the ashes empire. From the ashes of empire, a new hope beyond man, the Trinity. I, Thren, and human now bound as sisters, the first interspecies alliance embarks on a journey to build a better future. Old ghosts and new threats loom. Cold darkness and cruel light threaten to engulf the fringes of the frontier at the flare of an engine. But rejoice, my friends, for only from the darkness may we see the stars.
Hello, everyone. My name's Luke, and I no longer have to give the toast.
So the backstory to this, it now comes in 2 chapters. The first is that there
Oh
was
no, I
a,
hadn't thought about
there was a much beloved NPC who died in a hail of laser fire because he wasn't very good at avoiding that kind of thing, and our noble heroes cheerfully used him as a meat shield, and he took the hit that they didn't have to. And to commemorate him, we now raise a glass in memory of him. And the second part that we need to explain is that up until this time, it fell to Luke to give this toast because one of his characters had lost this bet, basically. And last week, we had a new game, and one of the NPCs lost the bet, so it now falls to me. And in a cruel twist of fate, because I'm currently on antibiotics, having been savaged by a werewolf.
Oh, Luke, what have you done? That's horrific.
It means that I have to raise the toast with a glass of water.
Oh, Grail would be heartbroken.
Did you not think about your timing?
Still.
I didn't know I was going to get bitten by a dog 4 days in the future, did I?
Oh, you planned it all.
It was all a cunning plan.
So, all of us, to the late, great Grey Hill Bast.
Like great Greyhill Bast.
The Grey Hill Bast. And to you, Ben, for joining us
That's
in
Ben.
the toast with... I'm speechless.
To
but
old
for joining
watery
us in the toast.
to old watery Ben.
It seems so cruel, doesn't it, right now?
It does. But
But
our thoughts are with you.
thank you. So, yes, as we've just broken off with Agnar's mic drop moment, we should perhaps return to Agnar and Soraya, who are still on their tube train when we last left them, and heading off northwards beyond Mina towards Pito.
Now, these are the two with no particular vision in their life at the minute. The other two were very specific about what they're doing. The other two jumped on the train because it was the thing to do. Now, if I remember correctly, and I do remember correctly because we double checked with Ben when no one else was listening. we have a meeting with Black Sun this afternoon at Rena.
Mm-hmm.
You said that Agnar was very excited about the hotel at Larta, which we'd got booked in. This is what I double checked because you went double C's on the names, Ben. I just wanted to check. So we are that hotel that we are booking into for this evening.
Is this the one we got the discount at?
This is the one we got the
What's
discount.
his face at the desk?
Yes.
This one is called the Hotel Coronet on
It
Larta.
is.
So we need to book in
Yeah.
before bedtime at the Coronet in Larta. So either these two can book in, I guess, or they can get off somewhere else or enjoy a bit of sightseeing or get to Rena or what else, because they've got no other specific purpose for being right now, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only reason Agnar isn't excited about checking into the next hotel is because he has no other purpose currently. No overwhelming sense of this needs to be done.
That's military life for
He's
you.
on holiday.
He is
That's why he's in Daddy Agnar mode.
Daddy. He's still got the Earth Park cap on. That's what I like most
That's
about
the
him.
point. Yeah.
I should change his little picture in the top corner to his little cap. I'm gonna do that for next week. I'm gonna do that for next week actually. A little cap
Shirt and
holding some barbecue meat in his hands.
Hawaiian shirt, barbecue meat.
Barbecue meat.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely the way to go.
But no, I mean, he's pretty easygoing.
He is chill.
Fair enough. So is Are our party going to stay together, the two of them, first of all? And if so, are they getting off at Pito or Lata, or are they just going to keep going, basically?
Let's just do the lap. That's what Saraya's going to turn to Daddy Agnar to do. She'll sort of raise an eyebrow after looking over his shoulder and seeing, "Hi, I'm Kara Laska here in a very posh place," and knowing that her boy Stefan's just run off chasing someone. So she'll be like, "Oh, it's just the two of us now, then, Daddy Agnar. What should we do? It's a beautiful day. It's not even lunchtime yet. Those who can look after themselves. What do you fancy?"
Agnar, I mean, I suppose the thing that would make sense is to check out Pito, but we could possibly do this on the transport. We're eventually going to Lata, right? We need to at some point check in at Lata.
I mean, it's checking at Lata, and then we've got part of that was a cruise evening, I guess, or something. That was part of the deal, wasn't it?
Do you want to go? I mean, they're all off doing whatever they want to do. Do you want to go lunch somewhere? A treat?
So I will say, yes, let's do it. Let's do it Lata. If we go to Pito without Kara, she will literally kill me.
Can Agnar, as they're passing through Pito, can Agnar tell whether, from the descriptions he's gathered of Lata and the view he has of Pito, can he tell which would be better for a local cuisine lunch spot?
Right.
I mean, I know it's a lot. That's all he's got to go.
Just from glancing out the quickly moving window.
He's on a tube train, glancing out of the windows at a tunnel wall, thinking, does this look like the kind of place you can really get a nice meal?
Yeah. Is the place that I had described to me back in a hotel 3 stops ago, does that sound better than the place that I'm getting a view of, looking out this window of a presumably reasonably high-speed traveling? I mean, that's what he's got.
You can't really see anything while you're on the transport, but from what you have gleaned so far, Pito is the business and government heart of the city. So it does have sort of restaurants and cafes and bars, but it's in a city kind of location.
Sure.
Lata is rather more relaxed, rather more accommodation based, full of resort hotels and lakefront cafes and restaurants. So it really depends on the vibe you want. If you want a sort of business lunch place, Pito would probably be a better choice. If you want a more touristy experience or a more relaxed experience, Lata would probably be the better call.
Perfect. So Agnar will turn to Soraya and he'll say bourgeois or boho.
Ah, but bourgeois. Oh,
Yes.
well.
Yes.
She's not as far off in the spraying graffiti on the rich people's houses as Kara, but boho would definitely still be more her direction.
Wonderful. So he'll suggest to her that we stay on till later.
Okay. All right.
From what I've been told.
Yeah. From what I've been told. From what?
Okay. So there are in fact 2 stops on Lata.
From what Geekle tells us.
And if you're staying on that far, you also get that experience of going through the dam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you both get to look down onto the sort of valley that forms the heart that the whole city's wrapped around, which is a fairly impressively green and very steep-sided place, and then you essentially can get out immediately at the other side of the dam, or you can stay on to the one at the northern-ish middle of the peak.
Should we get off at the first stop and take a little wander through?
Right. Is that the one that Stefan got off out of interest?
Yes.
Why not? Let's wander off and head north. Let's see what we've
I was
got.
more thinking, you get off at the outskirts and you walk into
Work through.
the town centre.
Sarah's
Bohemian centre.
just happy to live life. She's got no weight on her shoulders at all, to be honest.
Mm.
She just survived being eaten by a shark about 32 hours ago, so she's everything's a bonus for her right now, quite frankly.
Absolutely. Okay. So you get off and you're confronted with exactly the same kind of view that Stefan had just minutes earlier. Looking up the west side is the lakefront with the sort of resort hotels and the very pleasant cafes and restaurants and gardens and a lakefront experience. And essentially in tiers going back from that, you increasingly have, quite high-end shopping and restaurants, and then a bit further back than that, things get a little bit less exclusive as you head towards the east, basically.
Yeah. Can Agnar turn to Soraya and just say, in all our time travelling together, I don't think we've got to know much about each other. Do you have a favourite cuisine? Is there anything you would like for lunch? Particularly.
It's hard to say. I've travelled many places, and for 20 years, 15 years, let's say, I've barely been to the same place twice. I've eaten fancy food. I've eaten rations. I definitely don't want rations or hardtack. I've had enough of that floating through the expanses. Don't you go cheap on me, Daddy Agnar. But what I must admit, I did enjoy those spicy barbecue flavours we had. I don't want suspicious meat, but something that's just full of flavour, full of life, with a bit of brightness on the plate is perfect for me. Street food, yes. As long as I can sit down somewhere, my legs are tired. Street food with a chair.
Wonderful. So I assume we walk and we look, Agnar. At least we both look for somewhere that is wonderfully bohemian and seated and street food-esque.
Okay. So in essence, if you want that kind of experience, you do get the very strong feeling that just a few roads back from the lakefront, you will indeed find that kind of thing. And as you head back there, you quite rapidly discover that there are little shops and private businesses and bars and basement, cellar bars, and there are pubs and little gardens for eating outdoors. There are street food vendors and there are those kind of cafes that have windows along the front that open to allow them to serve out onto the street or into little gardens as well. And it doesn't take you very long to find quite a wide selection of choices for this kind of thing, a sort of relaxed and, as you might say, bohemian style of dining.
Wonderful. Yeah. Have your pick, I suppose.
Okay. So you find a suitable place and you settle down. Can I have each of you roll a streetwise for me, please?
Ooh.
With intellect.
You still know what food is good, Ewan. You don't eat the dirty food.
Not take the poisonous eel.
Oh, I've rolled a 7, so I could probably do with you rolling a little bit better than me, to be honest.
Well, the good news is Agnar rolled a 4. His streetwise is -3 and his intellect is 0. So that's a 1.
Oh, hang on.
That's a total of 1.
Oh, we had an intellect, Ben.
Yes.
8 then. 8.
8.
Oh, the magic number. Oh, let's hope.
See, if I hadn't have rolled so poorly and made such a big deal out of the...
I wouldn't have known
1
about
that I
the
rolled.
intellect.
I wouldn't have had a clue.
I wouldn't have known. I'd been blissfully chowing down on my dirty meat without looking around.
Okay.
Blissfully happy.
You find a suitable place. You settle down for what turns out to be an absolutely lovely and relaxed lunch, and not ridiculously expensive either.
Mr. Rice still insists that Daddy Agnar pays.
Of course.
Yeah, and he will if you want me to mark off any credits.
I think this will come into the general category of living expenses we don't track. It's not a huge expense. So with that, we should probably flick back to Stefan while they're eating.
Oh yeah, Stefan.
So Stefan has been meandering around the top of Lata.
Yeah.
And presumably you're all reasonably staying in contact with each other and know where you are. So he could, of course, join the others for lunch if he wants. Or alternatively, go off on whatever errand he wants to undertake.
Once he's taken a little bit of a wander and made sure that he's definitely lost Seba, and he's not going to stumble across him, turning around the next corner, he will... I suppose he'll find the next amenable-looking person he finds in the street and ask, do you know JoJo's Antiques in the local vicinity?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, lovely place. He points just a couple of blocks over. It's in a sort of vaguely artistic quarter, in pretty much the middle of the peak, and all around it there are art galleries and little shops selling everything from tourist tat and homemade product to some really quite smart imported goods or electronic devices. It's a fairly random assortment of a small store shopping district, and yes, just a couple of blocks over there is indeed the frontage of JoJo's Antiques, which is a unit within a block that also contains like a commercial art gallery and a local furniture maker.
Wonderful. He'll walk in and introduce himself to the shop owner, boutique owner, whoever appears to be behind the counter.
JoJo turns out to be a female Varga, with a beaming, not to say toothy maw. Yeah, for some reason I'm thinking about dog's teeth at the moment. I can't imagine why. Anyway,
they haunt your dreams.
It must be a weird side effect of drinking water. Yes. Yes, it's the only reason I'm drinking water, because if you can't stomach it, it means you've got rabies, doesn't it?
That's exactly it. Clever.
So this is the test. But yes, the she bundles over quite enthusiastically and says, "Welcome, I'm JoJo. How can I help?"
He says, "My name's Stefan Miller. I believe you've a book on reserve for me."
Oh, yes. I actually found 2 books. So I don't know exactly what kind of book you want, but I have 2 I can show you. And she bustles behind the counter and pulls out one fairly substantial sort of leather-bound volume. It's not old. It's clearly been made for an aesthetic purpose. People who enjoy a heavy leather book with actual paper in it. This is not actually particularly antique, and it is an extraordinarily elegant binding, very well made, handcrafted piece of material, and perfectly put together. And it contains a technical manual for a life support system on a disused class of very small trading ship.
Okay. Yeah.
So she sort of offers you this and says that there is a market among people who have made their money in a particular craft, taking things that would normally be electronic and turning them into pieces of almost furniture for their houses. They enjoy leafing through them and reminding themselves of what they studied when they were at university or as professional qualifications. And this is a good example of that, in excellent condition, in a blue leather binding. The paper is very high quality, and it's been extremely well looked after. And you could have this for 250 credits.
And the other option?
Well, the other option is a slightly more pricey commodity, and she reaches down and takes out a sort of small package, and the package itself is a sort of storage box for something valuable, carefully marked so it can be sort of hermetically sealed, and will protect it against dust and moisture and things of that nature. She pulls on a pair of gloves and opens the box carefully, and inside is a paperback novel. And she says, now this was published almost a century ago. It's the 112th edition, published on Regina, and obviously very much a collector's item. It's going to set you back, I'm afraid, 1,000 credits.
It's the 112th edition, Ewan.
Oh, well, I mean, it's very. These are both wonderful examples, and very interesting. I'm tempted to take both. Do you have any other oddities of Earth or natural life that would be of interest, or is this all you've managed to acquire?
Authentically Earth? I mean, the novel, this printing is from Regina, but the novel was originally penned on Earth a very long time ago. And that therefore does have a certain Earth connotation, though no part of it is actually of Earth origin, beyond the logical content. There are a few other things, not actually authentic items from Earth itself, I don't think, but since Earth Park came around, we do have a few items that might be of interest, including, well, I can show you this, and she pulls out a leather pouch, basically, for a standard size communicator. And she says, now this is made of megalania skin. When animals die on Earth Park, sometimes they sell on any of the relevant remains, and this was actually made out of megalania skin, reared right here at Earth Park.
Stefan kind of sort of half scoffs. He's not trying to insult anyone, and just says, "Well, for now, I will. Can I take the 2 books, please?"
Absolutely. Yes, no problem at all. That will be 1,250, please.
Wonderful. Although somewhat awkward
Some maths.
for my current total.
And you do it in pen as well, don't you? Oh, no.
Yeah.
What a fool.
1,250.
1,250.
Oh, the pocket nuke gets further and further away.
No, he's still good for it.
He's still good for the pocket nuke. That's all right.
Okay, perfect. And he will take both of the books. And thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I'll tell all of my friends about this wonderful, wonderful shop.
Well, thank you. Please do. We can usually get things from other collectors. There are some wealthy people here who are often looking to refresh their collections by getting rid of some items, replacing them with others. So we can get quite a lot of things given some notice.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And he will leave the shop.
Okay, then that might be a good moment to abandon Stefan temporarily.
Oh, Stefan.
And return to the joys of Mina.
Hi, I'm Kara Laska, and I'm here on the posh area of Mina on Geeker. I'd like to give a shout out to Already Half Spliced, another TV viewer, Commander Root, and $1 Million Alley for their subscriptions and their love. I'm here with Kat Aralesti. Hello, Kat. Thank you for all your knowledge. Who is bigging up your city, having a lovely time. And then she'll sort of give a bit of a spin round with the camera. Hey, we're here. Trying to get some cheers from people walking past that are not interested at all. Let's get some cheers, everyone. Hey! Oh, okay. It was worth a try.
Everybody else is completely ignoring this. This scene.
You've been a lovely audience. Thank you. Just say, Kat, we're here for me and my friends are here for a few nights. You and your buddy pals, are you alone, are not planning to go out at all over the next few evenings, are you?
No. The Commodore prefers it if I don't go too wild in the evenings.
The Commodore? Tell me more.
Oh, my my chap. Everyone calls him the Commodore.
Your chap. Your chap. Okay. How long has he been your chap?
About a year now.
Can I call him your beau? I like the word beau.
You can, if you will.
Thank you very much. Why do people call him the Commodore, Kat?
He owns a fishing fleet. About 100 boats, I think.
Very interesting. You know, a weaker person than I would say it sounded a bit fishy, but luckily I'm not that person. But I like to prove I'm not by saying it and then not saying it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
because it's easy.
He doesn't work for the Waterfall Group at all, does he?
No, they have a relationship, as I understand it, but I think the Waterfall Group is in the business of purchasing fish The Commodore's very much in the business of mining them.
Mining fish. You have a beautiful way with words, Kat. You have a beautiful way with words. Do you wish you could go out more often, Kat?
I miss it sometimes, but there are benefits to having a really very wealthy man to make sure you never want for anything.
She sort of makes a big scene of like covering the microphone on the phone at the communicator at this point. A bit of an aside. I've taken you, Kat, I must admit. Thank you so much for your time and hospitality. I'm here with my friends. We're hoping for a lot of fun times, but we are trading as well, and we're planning to trade in fish, in fact. I know it's I'm hoping they're very much below deck, quite frankly, if we've got to jump for a week with them on board. But if I could smooth the way with the Commodore, I guess your beautiful bow, would you like to, as part of sort of a business deal, I guess, would you like to join us for an evening? We've booked an evening on the lake. We're up in Larta for a couple of nights, having a good time. Would you like you and a friend, you and the Commodore? Would you like to come and join us? If it's if there's business involved and if he's interested and he's happy, would you like to perhaps join us?
I will. I think I can certainly ask. He's normally pretty accommodating when I ask him for something like that, and I think he'd quite like the idea to have a boat trip. You mean on the lake?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
I'm sure he'd think
the seas are a long way. The seas are a long way down.
They really are.
If you want to chat with him, she'll sort of flash her card that she's been artistically doing. We did that the other night, didn't she? She's sort of been artistically doodling some cards. Take all my details, and if he's interested at all, then we'd be more than willing to have a wonderful evening, chat a bit of business, have a few drinks, a meal, a nice time on the lake, and just have I'm sure many people come and go from Geeker. Many people come and go from Sailfield, but every now and again it's nice to have a pleasant evening or two out. Some people.
I think it would be lovely for me. I think he would enjoy it. He would like the opportunity to maybe talk a little business. It's always possible.
Fantastic. Carl will say that is lovely. Thank you very much. So here's the details. I'll leave it to you to get in touch with me. I won't nag you. But here's all the stuff you need. We're in town for a few days anyway. I think, if you guys are interested, let us know. And then she drops her hand from the mic, and she's like, "Hey, we're back here. It's me, Kara Laska, in the posh part of town with a lovely girl. She feels a bit claustrophobic. Kat, have you ever considered graffiti on these big walls?" And then we'll cut from there.
She looks at you sort of quite horrified. That's probably illegal. You know that, right?
Yeah, as Kara gets the can and starts shaking, that's it. Yeah, she'll sort of cut the feed from there, and I guess we'll go back to the other guys at that point.
All right. So returning to Soraya and Agnar, who've just finished up their very nice meal.
I have.
So I said to the guy, that's not my shoelace.
Really? Oh man. Oh man. Oh. Wow.
That's one of the best stories I've ever heard.
I can't believe we've never really chatted that much before.
Well, it's a good job that we have. though I do feel as though we might be missing out on something, perhaps somewhere on the planet.
You get that feel, do you? It's just us sitting here drinking and eating for the afternoon.
I mean, I imagine it's very, very relaxed at this point. Agnar
It is. I mean,
is very much on holiday.
it's a very relaxed place. It's the reality is Selville offers different kinds of environments for different kinds of people, and this is a very relaxed, quite artistic area.
Which I imagine probably suits Soraya reasonably well.
It's for a girl who
I might be well off.
has lived a lot of her life on the edge of space, I guess, and looking over her back and sort of having to handle herself and look after herself and worry about all that. The chance to actually settle down. Once she's a bit Stephanish, i.e. she prefers to sit with her back to a wall or something. But once she's settled and the drink's going and the food's going and she can actually relax with someone that she knows has got her back, she's living the time of her life, And with Daddy Agnar in full Daddy Agnar mode, she's pretty much as chill as she can be off of the ship, I guess.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I guess Agnar will say to her, "Do you think we should? Do we need to hunt down anyone?" They'd have messaged, right? If there was any issues.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, you're the one watching Kara's feed, and she sort of checks the time. She's like, "What?"
I'm trying not to, if I'm honest.
So we're like, "Well, I remember we've got a meeting this afternoon, but I think we've still got a couple of hours before. Is it worth us just booking into the hotel, making sure it's there, and then it gives everyone else an hour or two to catch up with us before we do some business?" I'm loving the relaxing, but there's no reason why I can't get one last drink in a plastic.
Well, why don't we could check in for everyone. We can see if there's any relaxation to be had outside of these little boutiques and find out what the hotel has to offer.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
If you wish.
Sounds good. So Soraya calls out for one last round. A whiskey for Agnar and a beer for her. Motions for for whatever Igika's version of a plastic is. A plastic or a card or a paper or something for takeaway. We're in the Bohemian area, so I'm guessing we can kind of get away with it somewhat. And
I don't think anyone's going to panic too much.
And they, with the idea, they get up and they sort of pay up and wander off in the zigzaggy direction of the hotel, I guess.
Okay. The hotel, the Coronet, is almost in the middle of the western side of the peak. There's a little sort of kink in the side of the lake, and it's pretty much on that, looking directly over to the business district of on the other side where the sort of government buildings run right down to the water. It takes its name from the design of the building. It is in fact almost exactly circular. And the way it is designed is a series of towers that do look quite reminiscent of a coronet. One half of it forming a sort of semicircle on the shoreline, containing a semicircular garden in the centre, surrounded by these little towers, which they're not freestanding towers. They are connected by tracery that hangs between them, which also contains rooms and space. But the other side of the coronet, the rest of the circle, consists of towers connected by similar tracery bridges that actually stretch out into the lake itself. And there seems to be a sort of effectively a private area of the lake there, sort of kind of hemmed off within the circle of the hotel. And Also, there seem to be rooms and restaurants and views and things actually in these towers and connecting, curtain bits between them that are also in the water, as well as on the land as well, surrounding the semicircular garden, if you will. So that's the basic layout of it and where it gets its name. The main entrance for the hotel is on the eastern side, away from the lake, but there are two other entrances right on the shoreline, where the sort of the coast footpath runs along the shore of the lake, which of course runs right through the middle of this area, with the water to one side and the semicircular garden to the other. And the main entrance on that eastern side, that lobby area, is therefore accessible from either the garden or from the east, from the sort of the town part itself. So as you approach, you walk into this rather splendid looking lobby, beautifully appointed, and realize that though the structure is probably a metal in terms of the way it's designed, all of the interior, as far as you can tell, is completely covered, floor, ceilings, walls, with very pale, quite heavily grained wood.
As they walk in, the communication device beeps, which Sarai picks up and sees one last video with Kara going, "Hi, this is Kara Laska. I'm currently on a train from Mina. A graffiti project started well, went a bit interesting, and it's probably the last time you'll see me in Mina, but I'm heading on to my next stop." And then it cuts out very quickly after that.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. It's perfect. She's such a badass.
So we don't need to cut to her anymore. She will join us at some point. No, that's
Absolutely.
Whenever the wind takes her. Wherever, whenever. Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows?
So you, our two noble heroes, the others being much less noble.
Yeah.
The good travellers.
The good travellers.
Are in the hotel lobby and can walk up to the reception desk, where there is a person, a young woman, behind the desk, waiting to greet you.
I believe there's something we had to say.
Yeah,
it feels a bit not ITV nightmare right now. What do we need to say? What's the code?
If I remember, all you really have to say is you were sent by the
the
tourist
person,
officer, whatever it was. Yes.
Yeah, we didn't even get a name, did we? Just the tourist officer sent us. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Info disc,
Agnar will say to Soraya, shall we?
Shall we? After. She's a little bit tipsy. After you. That's a my, quite frankly. After you.
And he'll go up to the desk and say hello.
Hello.
We've been sent by the what was the position of the
Info desk position. He's not like some general. He's still in the army.
Yeah.
It's like some colonel or something.
How would Agnar describe this person's role?
Some gangly info desk guy.
We were sent this way by
Tim.
a member
Call him
of staff on
they're all Tim.
Elia. Tim, I think.
Tim.
His name was.
Oh, it's definitely Tim. Definitely Tim.
Bound to be Tim.
They're all Tims.
Yes. He ensured us that a good deal would be had.
Soraya will chirp up in it. Soraya, a little bit drunk, so she's chilled, will sort of lean forward into his ear and sort of about a bit too loud, considering it's next to a very big pointy Varka ear. It included a cruise, Agnar. A cruise as well.
I know. With a cruise.
Yes, yes. I'm familiar with the arrangement. Yep. Hold on one moment. And she looks down and says, "It's for 6 people."
Yes. The 6 people that defeated the great shark in Earthpark. I don't know whether you've seen the social media feeds. And he puffs out his chest a little bit.
Kara again leans over, pokes his chest, and says, "He found all the animals."
I know. And he starts scrolling through the list of animals on his phone.
He even found one that wasn't on the list.
That one wasn't even there.
He is a god of I Spy.
The Earth Park god.
Pokemon. You've got to catch them all.
He's got all of them, quite
Absolutely.
frankly.
Okay, so yes, the she offers you 3 twin rooms, and yes, you can take whenever you would like, this evening or another evening while you're here. You can absolutely take a lake cruise where they'll pick out all of the relevant, interesting details about the lake for you.
Wonderful. How much are the rooms per night?
Each room, with your friend's discount, will come in at 600 credits for the night.
Book 2 nights. Book 2 nights. How many
perfect.
people per room? How many people per room?
Well, there'll be twin rooms.
Okay, 6, 12, 8. So it's 36.
Yes, it would be 3,600 if you got 3 rooms for 2 nights. Yes.
Is there any chance of a discount? Even more of a discount.
With the discount.
Oh.
And the cruise.
And the cruise. Both
And it
nights
does
if we
include
want
the
it.
cruise.
Wow.
And that's enough for the 4 of us plus Rick plus
Rose as well.
Rose.
Yeah.
But not the others that we've...
Yeah, they know. They know.
They're on their own.
They've had a free day
point.
trip. They're all right.
Yeah.
They're loving it.
Agnar will chuck down the 3,600
Okay.
for 2 nights.
I'm looking forward to 2 nights. I'm looking forward to 2 nights at this hotel, actually. In real life as well. I'm actually looking forward to 2 nights at this hotel. It might be lockdown, but I'm actually looking forward to it.
Oh, awkward mess.
It depends what you've got to start with.
189466.
Hang on. 189466. Okay. You're looking at 185866. 866.
It was the 8 that was doing me. The second 8 that was doing me trouble.
That one was for my maths fans. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
You know who you are, maths fans. Just stop sending those knickers in the post. It's embarrassing.
That's what you need, maths fans. Yeah.
Maths fans.
To be fair, I would have got there in the end. It was only the odd 100.
Yeah, you say that.
Ben wouldn't have minded.
You were
Wouldn't
so
have noticed, in fact.
Well, fair point.
Okay. Yes. So you are checked in. You can have your pick of where you would like the rooms to be. You can have rooms out on the lakeside where they are actually in the towers or curtains that stand out as a semicircle into the water, or the garden side where they overlook the garden.
Agnar will just throw up a finger and just keep eye contact, but throw up a finger and pick up the phone and say, yes, hello, Rick. And he'll call Rick.
Oh, Rick.
Okay.
Good old Rick.
And he'll say, we're just checking in on Lata. Would you prefer lakeside or garden side? Between the 2 of you.
There's a brief sort of conversation between them, and lakeside would be lovely.
course.
And he'll, okay, perfect, fine, thanks, bye, and hang up abruptly, and just say, Lakeside would be wonderful.
Okay. So you are given the relevant credentials for your communication device to allow you to gain access to your rooms. The rooms are actually in one of the sort of curtain wall areas between two of the towers out in the lake. They are a fairly decent distance above the water, like 30 feet or so above the water surface, with a fairly substantial balcony each overlooking the water on the outside, and another one directly opposite on the other side of the room. This is achieved by the fact that the walkway that goes around the coronet itself leads to a series of private lifts, one for each room. And so when you get to your relevant room, you either go up or down. If you're in a tower, it could be either. If you're in a curtain wall, it's down only into your room, which means that the doorway, if you like, is in the roof, in the ceiling,
Yeah.
and there are balconies and windows both outside and in. And in this case, the outer ones just look out over the lake towards the business district, and the inner ones look over a little bit of water and then the semicircular garden and the seafront and the other side of the hotel.
Oh, lovely.
Fancy. I like it.
That's lovely. That's lovely.
It's very good.
They are by nature. I mean, it does seem to be quite an unusual design in order to give a particular sense of freedom and wildlife and nature, despite the fact that you're in a very artificial environment.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful design. I like it. It's very nice. Here, sorry, just briefly.
No, please do.
Do we? I'm assuming either Agnar can forward the key login, check-in details to them, or they will.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, you can actually, because they're your party, you can actually pass on the details of their communication devices to the desk.
Yeah.
And they can literally bleep it out to them, so they've already got the keys in their hands, basically.
Perfect. So as long as they can get in.
Yeah.
That's
yes. And again, the rooms and all of the corridors and everything, it's a metal structure, but they are panelled with this pale wood with quite a striking dark grain, and the balconies seem to be made out of wood. They probably aren't. They're probably, again, a metal structure, but everything is covered in wood. And the balconies are designed so they look like they're carved out of wood. They up close, when you're looking at the towers, they kind of look reminiscent of trees. Everything is supposed to look like you're in a large carved building.
Does the just quickly, does the paled wood resemble anything that we've seen in, say, Earth Park? Great wood, wood grain wise.
It would be hard to tell just comparing it to the bark of a tree.
Sure.
But yes,
like the barbecue pit or the huts for entry tickets, or that sort of.
In general, the wooden areas and the bits that look like wood at Earth Park were a darker colour.
Okay. I like how you specified looked like wood.
Well,
okay, no, that's fine. That's more
you
than
didn't
what I was...
actually investigate to determine whether or not they were technically made of wood.
No, we certainly didn't.
I'm blaming that on you, Ewan.
That's more than what I was after. That's fine. I was just being nosy, if I'm honest.
It's quite all right. You're allowed to be nosy.
Are we hitting about like that sort of 1:30, 2 p.m. kind of vibe at the minute? I'm guessing
probably later than that, because you've had lunch as well.
Oh no, we need to get to Arena. At that point, it pings again, and Sarai looks up. Hi, this is Kara Laska. I'm on a public transport train. I'm going past Lake Simel, eating street food. With me is this. with me is this old lady, Joan. She pans to a lady next to her. Hi, Joan. Joan recognises me from the giant shark attack yesterday. Joan leans over and says, "Dearie, were you? I'm so proud. Were you the lady that nearly got eaten?" Because no, that wasn't me. And this sort of cuts away. Yes, no, this is no. That was my friend. That was my friend. But thank you for joining me on my stream. But yes, I'm eating street food, and then she cuts out very quickly at that point.
This is the most wonderful thing that I didn't realise that I needed. That all of a sudden came into my life. We should do this on every planet.
They say don't split up the party, but it turns out if you don't, you'd never get this.
No, exactly. It's amazing. Yeah. I very much approve.
She's on her way. She's on her way.
It matters either way, but
she's on her way. That's all we need to know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So,
in a beautiful way.
So, I mean, are you guys going to assemble on Rena effectively?
Might be an idea, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that is the eventual plan. There's, I mean, Agnar doesn't have anything in between that he wants to do.
I guess Soraya will. Soraya and Stefan get on well. Soraya will ping Stefan, I guess.
Yeah,
she's the most natural person to try and chase him up.
Definitely. All Stefan would want to do would be to drop his books off at the hotel, along with the flower. Do you remember the flower that he got? Yeah. So he'll drop the books off at the hotel. He'll get some what I assume is toilet paper, because unless we're on the pre-seashells.
Let's hope not.
He'll get some toilet paper and he'll press the flower in between toilet paper and he'll put it in the heaviest of the two books, and he'll attempt to press the flower and just leave it in the room while he runs off to Rena to join.
Yes, I mean, tragically, I think it has to be toilet paper, which is a shame because the temptation to say bidet everywhere you go is quite strong.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, but it doesn't absorb the water.
I think it's assumed now that I think the room share has been it's Agnar and Rick, Stefan and Soraya, and Kara and Rose has been the general share for the minute. Yeah. Even though Soraya's loved her day with Agnar, she's still closer to Stefan. They're almost brother and sister, I think, at this point.
There's a long way off between helping me steal a massive Navy ship and having a casual lunch.
Buying lunch.
Yeah.
Thank you for your lunch, but I spent 6 months planning stealing a massive naval ship with this guy.
Yeah, exactly. drinking in a bar and planning the hijinks that occurred.
Exactly. No, definitely.
So yeah, he'll drop all of those items off and then carry on to meet up with them.
Well, in essence, from the Coronet, the two transit stations at Lata are roughly equidistant. There's not a big difference in the journey. It's probably slightly closer to the southern one, but there's not a lot in it. And since all of you, to some extent at least, have travelled the southern part, or at least seen the southern part of the island on that side, you can cut through the rather more arty district to the sort of centre, which is in essence where you found Jojo, of course, and your two highly valuable books. And when you arrive at the transit station, you'll probably be together because you can easily meet up on en route. You do, after all, have live communication, and there's every chance that you would either be getting on the same train that Kara was riding, or you would meet at or near the transit station at Rena within a few minutes of each other. The actual the transit times are fast. You go through the normal experience when you come out from Lata and to Rena. You sort of burst out into the sunshine, and then find yourself traveling on a track that runs along the ridge line roughly between the two, and then you plunge back into the tunnel under Rena before emerging at the transit stop. Rena is a very different sort of environment to the other places you've been, but it is not completely dissimilar to Kuala, but it's a bit more basic and perfunctory. It is very much prefabricated industrial units, and the companies and businesses that have their places there, it's almost as if it's one giant industrial estate, and everybody there just rents a unit, and that's all there is to it. There doesn't seem to be much variation or anything like that. And the Black Sun HQ, though it's a fairly decent sized unit, is not a particularly distinguished one. It's large enough. It has the corporate logo, that black circle on it. But nothing particularly interesting appears to be about it. However, as you approach, I do need all of you, please, to make streetwise checks with intellect, or if you prefer, recon with intellect.
Barely rolled my dice all session. I lucky I've kept them in my hand.
Hold on, whoa. We've still got a boon.
No, look, I want to save the boon for juggling or something more important than just looking for things.
I mean, juggling is...
or like a card trick. Like, I want to like try and pull a foam ball from behind someone's ear. I don't want to waste it on actually looking around.
Or actual... Sure. Agdar's going to use recon, and I'll roll that one first.
Okay.
Whether there's going to be any sleight of hand boon related.
Not at this point.
On this one.
Hello, security guard. Let me just pull this foam ball from behind your ear. Whoa, you can let us in.
Agnar got a 5 + 1 is 6.
He's all right.
Okay, all right.
Look, we are all right.
Both of those dice.
From what I rolled, we're all right. What are we getting? It's streetwise or recon plus what?
Plus in.
Plus in.
Then we are fine because Kara has just hit a 14.
Oh, mate. That's good because Agnar got Stefan got a 6.
Yeah, and Sarai hit an 8, to be fair. Yeah, but it's definitely Kara that...
It's definitely the 14.
It's definitely the 14.
Okay. You do notice something a little bit unusual, perhaps. There's... It's not immediately obvious, but with a 14, it is pretty obvious that the building seems to have been through the wars a bit recently. It's not obvious, but you get the very strong feeling that the building isn't as immaculate as it might have been compared to the ones around it. It looks as if a few windows have cracked, or a frame has been pushed out a bit on a door, that kind of thing. And actually looking through the windows as you approach, you see there are a couple of places where a table has obviously been hastily put back the right way up, but they haven't necessarily picked up everything that fell off it. That kind of thing. The place just has a slightly disarrayed sort of feel about it.
No, sorry, go on.
No, please go.
No. Can we tell? Does it look as though it's? You said it wasn't trying to. Does it Do I get the feeling, or does Agnar get the feeling, I suppose, that it's not trying to stand out, and that it's trying to be a very low-key building?
Yes, I think that's fair. It is deliberately, even compared to the other pretty nondescript buildings around it, the sign is small.
Yeah.
The lettering is not very bold. It is. It's enough so if you know what you're looking for, you'd know you were at the right building.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's
But if you
clearly
if
no
you were
intent
looking for something,
whatsoever.
it wouldn't necessarily be right there.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, it's very much that kind of thing.
Cool. Okay, sorry, go on. that was all I was after.
So you sort of saunter in, glancing around, and as I say, you have noticed that there is just a little bit of disarray, and it's not only the place. Some of the people look like their hair's a bit out of place, and there's there's a chap behind the desk in the lobby who well, he's got a slightly bloody lip, and it looks like a bit of swelling on one of his eyes. But he nonetheless looks up and welcomes you in and asks what your business is.
That's a very good question.
Agnar will say, yeah, Bob. Hello. Are you okay? You look as though you've taken some kind of injuries. You need any kind of assistance?
I'm fine, thank you. We
I'm a medical doctor, don't you know?
He is. He's got med kits and everything.
I don't think I actually need the help of a medic, thank you. At least not at the moment. No, we had a visitor this morning who became quite obstreperous, and in ejecting him from the building, I may have taken a punch or two. We're fine.
That sounds horrific. I mean, you were just doing your everyday job. What does that happen often?
First time, literally the first time. You catch us on an unusual day.
Well, I'm sorry for that. I hope you have no more days that are like this one.
Daddy Agnar is so awkward.
What?
I love him. I love him.
He is.
I love him. I love him so much.
Is there anything we should be on the lookout for? What did this person look like? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, I think it's not really my place to say. I don't think you have anything to worry about.
That's fair enough. I was only being curious, you understand. We're here to meet, and he sort of looks over his shoulder to the note taker in the group, obviously.
I reckon
He's got the notes to hand.
I'm here, my notes are to hand. What do you need? What do you need?
We're here to see...
We don't know. We've just been given I look back, we've just been given an appointment by the head of Earth, Wind and Fire Security.
Right. Yes.
Earth Park, basically.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the office. We tried to find some dates. Basically, we went to the office. They sort of, we're very sorry, Lampatero, very sorry, rather. We're going to use, but we're very sorry, but we're going to use your blanked out faces to encourage people to come to the park. There's no way we're going to show your faces unless you promise ludicrous things that was never promisable. However, we managed to get 3 things: a better deal with Home and Doors. We managed to get a VIP tour guide to show us around tomorrow, if we want it, and a meeting with Black Sun. So because of Lampatero, we've got a meeting because we've got questions, I guess, with Black Sun. They were chasing us around. We've got our boy, what's his name? Falco. There's questions. Black Sun. There's a lot. We've had run-ins. Why were they went after us? We weren't the ones that went after them. They went after us. You know.
It's true.
Ultimately, so.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the guy says, yes, Miss Grishenko is expecting you.
Spelling. It's midnight 30. I need spellings.
GRIS.
Hang on, Miss GRIS.
HENKO.
Okay. Nice, thank you. Happy days. Thank you very much, Miss Groshenko.
She's expecting you. You can go straight on up. You get in the lift and head up to the top floor, the executive floor. And it's a prefabricated building. It's a bit basic, but inside it's a bit less nondescript, mostly filled with images of Black Sun personnel, many of them in military style uniforms, and various images of Earth Park with Black Sun personnel in them. That seems to be a contract they're proud of. And at the end of the corridor, you find an office door labeled Amy Grishenko, CEO.
Is that Amy as we would expect to spell Amy?
Yes, AMY. Yeah.
That's the best role playing you've ever done, quite frankly.
That is fantastic.
I mean, every now and then,
I mean,
broken clock and all that.
Knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
The door opens to reveal a middle-aged woman who says, welcome. Come on in. And she saunters over back behind her own desk. There are a number of chairs sort of in a semicircle roughly in front of her desk. Plenty for you all to take a seat.
My two will certainly sit down.
Okay.
That's what my two, I guess. A bit rude not to at this point.
I'm glad we can meet under such happy circumstances.
You're happy for us, but it seems like some of your staff downstairs may be less happy. Their smiles have been cracked somewhat.
Oh, well, that's a different sort of matter. But it was just the other day we were able to close out an account that had been delinquent for a while. A payment intercepted. We never received it. We weren't able to deliver it, and then eventually it did come through. And as I understand it, that may have been something that you had a hand in. But it's only a few days ago that I received word that actually that's all cleared up now and the payment's gone through. And then imagine my surprise. I get a call from someone saying you'd like to have a meeting.
It was just resting in our account. Isn't that the Father Ted quote?
As if by magic.
As if by magic,
I suppose.
Being all powerful as you are, you no doubt know of how many Black Sun operatives you had on Osin and how many Black Sun operatives you have on Osin.
Yes.
The ones that fill out the number between the two seemed very keen to chase us down for something.
Well, by an amazing coincidence, it turns out that was the money that has now appeared.
So everyone's a winner.
Absolutely everyone. I mean, there were a few unfortunate fatalities, but they were insured.
Agnar nods slowly.
You see, clearly we came across the money. We had no idea what it was. We had landed on Osin, literally. Kara looks across to Stefan, like 6 hours beforehand? 2 hours beforehand? Half an hour beforehand?
Minutes?
Like, literally, it, you know.
He'll say 6 minutes, maybe. It wasn't much.
It wasn't long. And we certainly went out of our way, and you may not be privy to it, but we certainly went out of our way to ensure that everything, like when you flush the toilet, everything got back going again as quickly as possible.
All debts were repaid.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Exactly. Yes, I'm very happy with how it all worked out.
Now, from what I could tell, there were very few Black Sun operatives left on Osin when we left.
I think it's fair to say you'd pretty much seen to that, yes.
You flatter us. It's no lie that I guess we have some interests in Osin. We spent some time there. When we first landed, we knew nothing about what was going on, but we made some friends there, and we found out that you guys are in Geeka, and we'll be honest, it's totally by accident that we've ended up on the same planet as you guys. We love the sound of Earth Park, and again, Kara looks over at Agnar this time, who's always willing to show the app. But I'm just wondering if you have continued interest on Osin. I know there's deals with the ore and the mine and things like that. Is that something that carries on? 'Cause I know we ran into you literally, but 3 days of our life and your life were caught up in that.
Your friend made it abundantly clear that we are not to have any more interests on Osin. And, well, she seems someone not to cross.
Shit. Out of game.
Is this is that someone that you're willing not to cross?
Yes, we're perfectly happy to abide by Imperial instructions as long as they don't interfere too much with business. And as it turns out, we're getting a little bit of business from them. So, well, that's really just ideal.
You'll understand, as lovely as you may be with your looking after the security of Earth Park and making sure that the little girls that drop lollies are not crying for too long, that we have a jaded view towards you, I guess, because our first 3 days of knowing you involved lasers and bullets flying around our head.
It's just business.
Which we totally understand. We're all about the business. Kara, we're all about the business. 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 While we're here, is there any business that you might be interested in discussing?
Oh, I think so. But before I pitch it to you, I really need to know your relationship with Officer Pramus. How close is it?
All right. I never expect that I will be sat on a sofa with her in our gym jams watching a rom-com and eating popcorn.
We received warning from one of our operatives that an undesirable man might be heading this way. He might be someone who wished Black Sun harm and would be willing to hurt, kill, damage my business. And for a long time, I sort of thought that was unlikely because, well, it's just one person. How much trouble can he be? And then very early this morning, we received a visitor. And he turned out to be quite a lot of trouble. But we didn't really put two and two together until after we'd thrown him out. And then realized that the one person and the other person might in fact be the same person. Because what he was demanding while he punched people in the face wasn't in line with what we've been told to expect of him. We've been told he had something in for Earth Park, and that wasn't what he was complaining about. He wasn't having a go at Earth Park. He didn't seem to care about Black Sun. He was really just after one of our employees. But it now occurs to me that he must have been here, and we didn't know. So if there's any way you could see your way clear to locating him or assisting us in bringing him to justice for the threat that he poses, we'd be very, very grateful.
Agnar says, well, was this employee Valco by any chance?
Yes, he's technically no longer actually an employee. His behavior became more of a liability than an asset. But we still pick up the phone when he calls.
Principal.
Up to a point. Yes. Also, you never know where the next business opportunity will come from.
Agnar nods, as if he knows what's going on.
as if he knows.
As if.
He's still buzzing a bit from all that whiskey.
I think we could certainly look into any issues you may have had.
Excellent.
If that's what you're asking.
That would be lovely. If you could just tell us where to find this person, that would be enough. More than enough. There is one other thing. I mean, I don't know if this is true, but word on the street is that you guys have business with the Deep Night Corporation.
That Agnar will say that's certainly not true of myself.
Ah, that's a shame.
But I can't speak for my other companions.
Roll a deception check for me with intellect, please.
Oh, is it deception?
Oh no!
Is it?
He can't lie. He's got such a pretty face. Let's cut to Agnar's face. Yeah, you can't.
Would you like to try and distract her with a juggling act or something?
Oh yeah, boon. Oh yeah.
Fine.
While he does that, Kara will say, "Hi, I'm Kara Laska. time here at Black Sun.
Oh, to be fair, Agnos.
Oh,
Agnos deception. He rolled an 11.
yes.
Plus 1.
Oh,
Plus 0 for
Oh.
intellect is 12.
the dreams.
Excellent stuff.
Somehow.
Oh,
Every now and then.
the dreams.
Every now and then.
Oh, he's hit it.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, that's a shame. There's a lot of money in that trip they're planning, and we were hoping to make a contact. But if you can't help, I fully understand. So, why was it you wanted to see me, or was it just to clear the air?"
While we're here for a few days, and from our time on Austin, you probably know that we're a mix of nobodies and people who are willing to try a few things out. And we were wondering whether there was anything that you needed help with locally. We've looked at some big pictures, I guess. We've looked at The Man You're After. We've looked at Deep Night. And we're just wondering whether there's anything else we could help you with while we were around. We're here for a few more days while refueling happens. We're having a bit of chill. Some of the crew are enjoying the Earth Park. We want to go out on the lake, have a nice relax. But, that time between waking up a bit hungover at 11 in the morning and going out at 7:30 in the evening, we can't fill every day with boutique shopping.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't have anything specific in mind, but there are businesses, there are industries, there are companies all over this planet, and we have had remarkably little success in securing the security contracts or personal protection contracts associated with any of them. For whatever reason, every business here seems to want to maintain their own security staff rather than contracting it out. If you could bring us clients, any clients, we could definitely offer you some good rewards for that.
So you want us to roll into some... I no doubt you'll give us a list if needed, but you want us to roll into some businesses, maybe suggest that they might be better served using you as security as opposed to whatever they're dealing with, for extra security.
I mean, I would suggest any company that you already have business with would be the way to go, rather than cold calling them or just knocking on their door and saying, "Do you need security?" If you're already doing business with them, if you already have a reason to have conversations with them about business, then perhaps that would be the way to go.
Have you got many groups of folk out there trying it at the minute? Have they got any specific places they're looking at over the next sort of day or two? Are they focusing on a specific area, or is it literally wherever they can get the hook?
Whenever you find yourself having a business dealing with any company of any size, just if you can find a way to say, "Oh, and by the way, we've always had good relations with Black Sun."
Hi, I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favourite store. Okay, we'll bear that in mind. Do you have something that you can give us to flash at them as a symbol of authority, if that makes sense?
Well, I can give you some business credentials, sure.
Okay, that would be lovely. Thank you very much.
That would certainly be very useful. Admiral Chipping.
Excellent. She transfers to you what amount to credentials that indicate you're acting on behalf of Black Sun.
How many people have we seen in this building so far since we've been in there?
A total of exactly 2.
Ooh.
How many people have you got out and about trying this at the minute? Like, are you doing as much as you could be? We've just only been here for a couple of days. You know, far be it from me to suggest you're doing things correctly or wrongly, but you know, have you got many groups out there trying to tout for business?
Almost everyone who works for the company is a contract agent who is in the field doing the actual contract. And on this world, practically all of them work at Earth Park. This office needs to be large enough that they can all have a desk when we need them to, but it's usually pretty empty. Which is why it turns out that one angry person could cause a bit of chaos.
Makes sense.
Have you got any names in the field as such, names on the street that it might be worth making any contact with? You know, like a captain or a sergeant, you know, someone that's sort of been around a while.
Well, I mean, there's no question that our most experienced officer is Corbett.
Ah, we've run into Corbett.
Ooh.
Well, could you give us our details so that we can get in touch with her if we need, like, her support in talking to other businesses and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And she passes that information over.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to find out the details that I've written down somewhere. Bear in mind, everyone just whistle and doodle along for a little while. That's Emma Corbett, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Emma Corbett. Thank you very much. Kara stands up to sort of shake her hand. So thank you for your time. It's been a good time, and hopefully going forward it'll have become an even better time.
Okay. She shakes your hand and wishes you a happy time on.
And a happy time to you too.
And as you head down in the lift and come out into the lobby again, you see the same guy behind the counter, and he's just chatting with somebody else, probably another potential visitor. And as you make your way out through the lobby, can you roll a recon check for me, please?
I lost one dice under my sofa. People may not have noticed, but I've been getting my toes under there for the last 10 minutes. I'm very upset. So I'm going to cold dice.
Is this everyone recon check?
Everyone recon check. Please.
Any extras on the recon or just flat recon?
Recon plus intellect.
Okay. Start with that, which is a 6, 7, 8, 9 for Agnar.
Oh, that's good.
And
okay.
I would imagine considerably less for...
I say 4 for Soraya, and a lot for Kara. 13, who's got her eyes about her today.
A 6 for Stefan.
Okay. Agnar and Kara, for whatever reason, as you make your way out through the lobby, are sort of bringing up the rear. The other two striding slightly ahead. And you glance across at the guy at the reception desk and sort of smile at him politely on the way out, just to sort of indicate that you're now done with the building and you're leaving. And as you pass through, Agnar and Kara, glancing across, as the other two just sort of keep moving ahead, completely oblivious, recognize the chap who's talking to the lobby guard. And he, apparently, recognizes you as well. And he turns his head, looks up, and bursts out into this enormous beaming smile like he's just seen his oldest friends. And it's Anton Fess.
Anton Fess. Now that's a name from the past.
Oh.
And with that,
And on that bombshell,
Oh.
Anton
Anton.
Fess. Or just it's like wheels within wheels. Ah. So on that, is that a bomb on our bombshell?
we actually, I mean, it's a very minor bombshell, but it's a bombshell.
On that minor Anton Fest shaped bombshell, which might not mean much to everyone, but it means much to us.
It means a lot to us.
It means a lot.
It means a lot to us.
Thank you to everyone that hung around to our elongated extra 56 minutes of session, which I thoroughly enjoyed actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to start. I feel like I'm going to start shouting out. Now that I know to check names in chat, I feel like I'm going to shout out people that were in the viewing at the time, which I think is the nice thing to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of names that I recognise. Thank you, Already Half Spliced. You show up a lot.
That I recognise.
Thank you, Commander Root. You show up a lot. Thank you, $1 Million Ali. You show up a lot. You're my friend. Thank you very much. And thank you, Streamer Discord Community. That's slightly generic. I don't know about that one.
And it still shows up a lot.
And another TV viewer. I always think that's you, Ben. Another TV viewer. I'm very suspicious of another TV viewer. It might be someone magical, but I do think that's you.
It isn't me. No.
It's not you. Then thank you, another TV viewer. I feel
Ben's
bad.
already half spliced.
Then thank you, another TV viewer. I love you more than Already Half Spliced, quite frankly.
Don't blame you.
Everyone does. We never used our boon. We're rolling it over to the next day.
Oh, we'll carry it on.
We'll carry it over. I think that's how boons work, isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely. It definitely doesn't go to waste.
This is Kara Laska. Join us next week on Friday for our next Boys from the Baltic Star. Thursday we'll do some kind of chatty stuff. We might talk about equipment next week, finally, after 4 weeks of planning
we've been talking about equipment for the best part of a month now, I think.
We're very good at talking about, just not very good at doing. We're going to do it.
Doing is harder.
And thank you for those that are watching, because although we're roleplay, we'd never kill anyone. We basically go around buying books and drinking alcohol and just enjoying boat rides. And
I mean, if you were to summarise what happened in this session.
I love it. I'm glad. And thank you those that watch, because it's a little bit different in ways. I feel like we found a very weird niche. And we appreciate anyone that watches to the bitter end, especially today. It's a long session.
Which means next week's TPK is going to come as a real shock.
It's going to happen. When 40 Black Sun pile in on us after I've been a drummer just... Oh, God, don't you shut your face. Enjoy your bank holiday weekend, everyone, in the UK. I don't think America gets it, do they? And we will see you all next week. Toodaloo.
Good night.
Bye.